Hey guys and gals, how you doing? Kevin Okwan here. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and show you the back end of a webinar that we had. So we had a massive 2-hour long webinar not too long ago. And the first half I was answering questions on the marketing side and answering questions on UpGroup itself. And then from there, we had Hitesh pop on. Hitesh Shaneja came on, and he went ahead and answered all the Carefree Now questions. What you're about to see is the second half of that webinar where he specifically answered Carefree Now members' questions, and it's definitely worth a listen. Anyone who has any questions about what we're doing with Carefree Now, all right, you should definitely listen to this. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this on over to the last part of that webinar. It's about an hour long, 48 minutes long, and it's going to really help you understand what we're doing with Carefree and where it's going, okay? So have a listen.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent. Excellent. I was giving all the answers to the question.
That's funny. I'm like about 80 questions above that, buddy.
Okay, so let's look at the question. What is the question about CFN?
Oh, there's a couple of them. Let's see. Submitting the CFN order won't get past a personal info page. Error.
Okay, so if they're getting an error on that particular page, it is likely because they are submitting their documentation, which is their IDs that they have to submit. They're probably submitting them in a file format that is unsupported. If they would simply send a message on the support page and say, I'm uploading this and I'm getting this error, then actually a person from the staff who is called a patient intake specialist, this is somebody who is a HIPAA compliant individual, they will actually go ahead and call up the person and they will help them through that process. Okay, so you guys don't have to stress about it too much. That is likely the cause. And the support page is on the main side. If you go to Carefree Now, there's a page called Contact. It's right there in the top menu. If you click on Contact, there's a form there that you can fill out and you can send the question in. Okay, who ordered the kit? Okay, so they don't order the kit. Remember that the patient requests a kit. Okay, the ordering of the kit happens inside UpGroup where you're able to order the kit on their behalf. Now, this is very important to understand how this works. The kits, the way these work with the labs, they're not like a constant supply that is just sitting there. They become available in batches. Okay, so sometimes we have more than enough and they're always available in a batch. If you go there and you try to order a kit, that just means that the batch has run out and we're waiting for the lab to send more. We're actually going to put a message about that back there. Kevin, if you want to log into your UpGroup account or maybe my UpGroup account, I can show them an example. Okay, actually, I can take over the screen if you want and
have at it, my dude.
Do it.
All right, get your questions, guys, because Hitesh is the man.
A man, not the man. That's
man.
Correct. All right. Okay. Let me know if you guys can see the screen.
I can see it. Can you guys see it? Very cool.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so within right here in your reports, within Carefree Now, you will see the patients who have actually finished all the steps and they have requested a kit. And you'll be able to click on order kit here and you'll be able to place an order from here. Now, if you're unable to, if it resets it back to 0, that just means the background supply is currently 0. And we will add a message back here where if you click it and that doesn't happen, it'll show a message saying we are awaiting a shipment or we are waiting a new batch from the lab. Okay, and I say lab, it's multiple labs. We're waiting for a shipment from the labs. So guys, just to let you know the background process, what happens is the labs actually send a bunch of these kits to a clearinghouse where they are repackaged, a prepackaged label is put on them, an instruction packet is put into them, and that's where those wait. And then when a patient requests the kit, that kit is sent from the clearinghouse to them. That way they don't have to pay the postage and stuff. Okay, so just letting you know there's a background process here. Many of you have done e-commerce before, so you know there's always stuff happening behind the scenes. Now, if you try to request kits and you just resets the page and it doesn't let you buy them, it just means there are none of those pre-postage paid ones available in the clearinghouse right now. And those get restocked twice a week usually. So we will put a message on there. We're just working on an API connection with them right now, so it's automatic and we can update that. But all you have to do is just wait a couple of days and then you can update it when you're ready, okay, when that comes back in place. And it's usually 2 to 3 days. Okay, can we print out the forms for patients to fill out and make them available? Yes, you can actually take a form for the patients. We're actually going to put an actual physical form back here in the CFN portal. The reason why we have not done that is, and I don't know if any of you are in the medical space at all, there is a lot of malpractice that happens with people who print out forms and they go and misrepresent things to people, or they incentivize people and then they send a filled out form to us. That's actually one of the reasons why we prefer, and why Carefree now is actually able to exist, and why we prefer an electronic health record system. So one way that you can do this is that you can actually take your phone or take a mobile device of any kind, like a tablet, and you can actually just go to somebody and you can have them fill it out on the device, or they can create an account right then and there and do it themselves. Now, what that does is that keeps everything compliant. That way, we don't have to worry about the fact that you now have the information of somebody, because now you have to be HIPAA compliant and you have to worry about whether or not you're accidentally exposing patients' information. So there's all sorts of stuff there. That's one of the big reasons why Carefree now exists and why this is in business and other people who are trying to do this are not. It's because here, the patient puts their information in and not a sales rep. And that's a huge difference when it comes to compliance and laws. Okay, so this is a very good resource for us, and we're actually pretty excited we have exclusivity on it. So you just want to take an app of any kind. You can take your phone and make it, work with that as well. Where do I access the support page? Right here, Mary. So you see this button right here on top on contact. It's on the home page of Carefree now. You click contact and you will send this support question in here. And if you just say, I need a call from a patient intake specialist, I'm stuck on an issue, or I'm unable to progress, actually a patient intake specialist will call you up and they'll go over the things with you. So this is mobile compliant right here. This will actually work on your phone. There is an app system that we are working on. Now, let me clarify where we are with that. So there's an app that Carefree now also has, which is an app that you'll be able to send to people. They can download on their own device. They can enter their own information. Now that app is ready. However, we are the ones holding that back because we want to be able to track referrals through the App Store and so on. And that's what we are working on, amongst other different things. So once we have that figured out, all UpGroup members will actually have a special funnel for Carefree now, where you will be able to message an app, literally in a text message or in an email or on the phone. You'll be able to send the app over to your contacts. They can download the app on their phone, fill out the stuff whenever they want to on their own time, and you will still get credited for it. And you can imagine why that would be kind of crazy if that actually works and we're able to make that happen. So right now it looks like we will have that, but we are just working out all of the specifics that go into the HIPAA compliance around that, the referral kickback laws, the federal rules on how kickback mechanisms work. There's a lot of stuff on the legal side that has to be cleared up on it. How to set up the time for doctors to call. Okay, so the doctor times are actually set up once you have, not you, but once the patient has filled out the whole form, and once they have actually received the kit. At that point, a patient intake specialist will contact them and let them know that a doctor is going to speak to them. The kit will not go to the lab until a doctor has actually spoken to them. Is that clear? Does that make sense? Would you like me to draw out the whole process once so everybody is super clear on that, or is everybody clear on it already? Okay. Alrighty, let's do that. So we will go back to Paint, which, as you all know, is what I use.
This is great.
Why complicate things, right?
This is awesome. You guys, if you have Carefree Now questions, guys, definitely ask him right now, because you got Hitesh. He's the brain.
Okay, so here's how it goes. It's a pretty simple process. We're going to make 5 steps for it. And you have to remember, you're only involved in 2 of the steps. Everything else happens in the background, but it's important that you're able to explain this process to somebody when they ask. Okay, so step 1 is patient fills out the info. Okay, this means all 5 steps. They complete all 5 steps. Okay, when they complete the 5th step, they push a button that says request a kit. All right, and we're actually working on something that I'll explain at the end of this that will make that process even easier for us in a second. Okay, so patient fills out the whole information, and then the patient requests the kit. And this is what you will see in your approved back office. Okay, so right here, as you can see, when a patient has done that, you will see that step. So registered means that's somebody who has registered and created an account. This is somebody who has completed the pre-qualification steps right here, and they have filled out their personal info, but they have not filled out their medical information. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and take a look at this back here. Okay, so you see how these two are labeled pre-qualification. These are a series of questions that determine whether or not they are pre-qualified for PGX or CGX, right? Once they have filled this out, these two steps, you can see that their status in your back office is going to change to pre-qualified. Okay, so registered is somebody who has created an account. Pre-qualified is somebody who has completed the two steps. Now, next thing they do is fill out their personal information. Okay, personal information is where they'll put their name, their address, their phone number, their ID, their state, which has issued their ID. They'll include their insurance information. Obviously, I'm not going to go to this page, so I don't accidentally expose some patient's information. So when they have done that, it's now going to change to awaiting medical information, because now they're giving us personal information, but we need their medical records. Then they will go to the medical information, and this is where they'll answer these series of questions. Do you have a history, or do you have current medical conditions like this in your personal life or in your family, right? Depression, stroke, hypertension, stuff like that. Once they have entered all this information, it will change to medical information received. And then finally, when they have requested a kit at their address, this will change, and you can actually see that they can also track their status right here. So once they have requested a kit, this changes to awaiting a kit. Okay, so very straightforward, guys. It's all of it is kind of done for you. It just happens over here, and then you will click on order kit, and now you will send the kit to them. The kit will arrive to them in less than 5 business days from the day that you order it. It's usually 2 to 3, but it can take up to 5. That's how long it's going to take. I know some people had questions about the viability of the kit. Is it going to be safe that long? Is it fine to hold it that long? The kit has a shelf life of about 3 years if it's not opened. And from the day the kit is open and you have a swab, you have the human tissue swab in there, and it's actually been put in there, you have 90 days of an additional time period at room temperature. That will stay fine. So you have plenty of time. Don't be concerned about that part. Okay. So you do not have to enter their information for their physical address and stuff. We actually have an API port on this where it'll automatically route the kit to that individual. Okay. So that's also taken care of right then and there. Now, next, what you're going to do is the patient is going to do the swab. Okay. And they are going to send it to the clearinghouse, to the address that's on the kit. And remember, that's the postage is already paid on that, so they don't have to pay for that either. Okay, patient swabs and sends the kit. So here are this is where your responsibilities end. All you have to do is send the patient to Carefree now and make sure the patient swabs and sends the kit to the clearinghouse. Okay, that's all. Now, from that moment on, the doctor's office will contact the patient and do a consultation with them. Okay. And at this point, the doctor will write an official order for the genetic screening or for other medical services that will be added in here. Okay, and we are looking at a lot of them. I don't want to go into all of those, but we are actually evaluating right now PTSD. We are looking at anxiety. We are looking at pain. We are looking at medical devices. There's a whole lot of stuff that we are looking at right now, and we're in the process with 2 of them already. That as it's done, we'll be able to port that over into UpGroup as well. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of stuff you'll be able to give away for free beyond just the genetic screening. Okay, now we look at the doctor consults with the patient, and now the lab receives the kit. Okay, lab receives the kit and performs the tests. Okay, and performs the analysis. All right, now your responsibilities are done, by the way, right here. Once the patient swabs and sends the kit in, you don't have to follow up with them or anything like that. Everything else is going to happen automatically. The doctor will consult them. The doctor will contact them. They'll consult. The lab will receive the kit. The lab will do the test. The lab will send the results back to the doctor. And now the chain goes backwards. The lab will now send the results to the doctor. The doctor will communicate the results to the patient. The patient is going to hopefully thank you, and money is going to flow up to you in this exact same flow. Okay, so right here at this point, once the results have been sent, that's when Medicare will reimburse. And this will flow up to you. Okay, and like we said, Medicare will reimburse an amount to the lab will reimburse an amount to Carefree Now will reimburse an amount to Upgroup, and Upgroup is going to break that up into referral commission service fee and into the check match fee and put that in your accounts. All right, is everybody clear on this? Does it make sense? Awesome. Okay, so the question from John. So the doctor consultation is after the kit is sent to the patient. Yes, the kit is sent to the patient first. However, the kit does not go to a lab until the doctor confirms all of that information. Okay, so that's why we have actually a whole clearinghouse that Carefree now runs that's set up in between. Alrighty. Okay, so now also hopefully guys, you see when this is such a big process, this is very similar to kind of how Amazon has established dominance, right? Because there's all sorts of stuff in the background that happens with repackaging and shipping and warehousing and all that stuff that Amazon takes care of, that they make that completely streamlined and invisible to both the consumer and the seller. And that's what Carefree now is doing in the medical space. They're taking all of these processes that happen in the background that are very complicated, and patients don't like dealing with it. And we obviously as marketers don't want to deal with it, but there's a huge public benefit to these services. And so Carefree now is basically there to make this stuff happen in the background, and we as marketers can interact with it, and patients can interact with it to get free services, hence the name Carefree, right? That's where it's coming from. Then you can be carefree and you're going to get free care options. This is the whole idea behind it. Okay, so we get to benefit from this. I'm personally really excited about where this is going to go. I know from a marketing perspective that there is this big question mark on, well, how many days will it actually be when we actually get paid? Like I explained before, this actually speeds up over time as more and more data is sent into the labs. So this will get faster over time, but you don't have to worry about or be so focused on, but when will that get paid out to me? The reason being very simple. Once you've sent a patient into Carefree Now, even if they don't qualify, even if it's not validated, even if they're not going to have a reimbursable CGX test or PGX test, Carefree Now is going to add on another thing, let's say a pain medication system or a metabolic supplement system or maybe a medical device, all sorts of stuff. And in many cases, there will be things that are not just limited to Medicare. There might be things that are covered by many different insurances, stuff like that. When they add that in, your patient automatically gets a follow-up. They automatically get told if they qualify for a service, and you automatically get, your service fee. So it's a very, very powerful thing. And I frankly think over the next year to year and a half, we're going to see a huge movement on the side, because so far, e-commerce has done a really good job of simplifying consumer products. It's not done a very good job yet of simplifying actual healthcare or healthcare devices or, healthcare services. So this is kind of what Carefree Now is leading into, and we get to benefit from it. All right. Any questions, guys? Or is everybody clear on this? Legal liabilities. Good question, Gina. You don't have to worry about legal liabilities as long as you're following some very basic common sense rules, and they are the rules that are right here on your system setup. Every time you try to get the link for Carefree Now, this is going to remind you over and over. Do not share anybody's information. Do not try to trick people into the test. Don't try to incentivize the people on the test. All of that kind of very simple stuff. So just read through this and read through these, and you will be in the clear as long as you can follow these processes. Does the site pre-qualify the customer? Yes. Okay, actually, I said that I'm going to talk about something cool that is in development right now. And like I said, since we are the EHR developers on Carefree Now, we get to see all the cool stuff that's happening. So one of the things that Carefree Now is implementing right now is it's actually doing a dynamic validation. What that means is as the patient is filling out these forms, by the time they get to requesting a kit, it automatically figures out whether or not it's even worth getting a kit for them. And if it's not worth it, it'll actually tell them, you don't need to request a kit. You don't need this test. You don't need a doctor consult to be able to tell that you don't need this test. So we're not going to let you request this kit. Instead, we're going to recommend that you do these things instead. And they're going to add that on along with additional services that might be beneficial. So in some cases, it's just 2 or 3 things. In some cases, it also gives them the ability to work through a different insurance mechanism. And in additional cases, it'll also give them an option if they just want to purchase something directly, that will be an option as well. So to give you one example in all of this and why this whole ecosystem makes so much sense, and I think it's going to get very exciting, especially for Kevin, since he's such a CBD guy. So let's say, for example, 3 months from now or 6 months from now, Carefree now adds in anxiety management, okay, where they will actually provide a service where they will actually be able to provide billing for anxiety issues. What is a product that benefits anxiety? This is a question for Kevin. CBD stuff, exactly. So one of the things that we are discussing with Carefree now is having the ability back here for allowing people to go and purchase directly from Metabolic Design. Now, guess what happens when a patient you referred purchases from Metabolic Design? Who gets credit for that sale? You still get the credit for that sale because the system notices that you referred this patient to Carefree now. Is it okay to incentivize to enter the funnel? Absolutely not. That's actually one of the key points right here. You should not incentivize anyone. Okay, if you incentivize anybody, not only will the reimbursement not be made available on that, it will also result in termination of your account. That's the hard reality of the Medicare system. Guys, keep in mind, the money side is great. The money is almost a side effect in this case. Why we're actually doing this is because this is a very genuinely needed service. Like I said, it's a very, very good service. It's something that many, many patients benefit from tremendously. Okay, in many cases, it also prevents deaths from complications from taking the wrong medications. However, the money is very good. It's a side effect. It happens. But don't do this primarily thinking, oh, I can, here is a way that I can find a loophole to try and get more people through it. That's just